Episode 164. Are these comics going to make good film and television shows? We have Green Lantern, we have a new Catwoman, and we have a new Moon Knight. Let's check it out right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And as far as the comics are concerned, we have Lords of LA. This is my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood. Yes, the Halloween is coming, so we got a whole bunch of spooky stuff for you. So this is issue 1, and then we have issue 2 here, and I'm actually putting my order in for the printing. So, in fact, I just got notification that some of them went out already. So, yeah, finally we're moving ahead. But, yeah, so we have some really cool vampire action. It takes place in the 50s, so we got Marilyn Monroe in there. We got vampire action. We got blood, sex, and gore. Lots of fun stuff. If you want a copy, I do sign them. Let me know in the description below if you want one, or in the comment section. And, yeah, check it out. Plus, I also teamed up with Mark Spears, who does plenty of comic book cover art for Marvel and DC, as well as some others. And he did a whole bunch of classic monsters artwork, which now we put into a card game for 1 to 4 players. We are unlocking a 5th player. It is on Kickstarter right now. You can go to mythlords.net or click the link in the description below, and it'll take you right there. It is also a Dark Oz expansion, and it comes with little figures and stuff like that. Dracula and Frankenstein. Cool stuff. Anyway, let's jump into Green Lantern. So this is by my buddy Jeremy Adams. And there's some really good stuff in here throughout the entire run. And there's some stuff that I kind of call bullshit on. But I just found out, and everybody that's followed my channel knows that one of my favorite characters is Aquaman. And we have not seen an Aquaman book in some time. Kelly Sue DeConnick really kind of screwed it up. And, you know, we also were drifting towards the Momoa thing. And I really disliked that. You know, I said to Jeremy, can we shave the beard and go back to the more classic look? He didn't respond to me. He just liked my text message to him. I don't know what that means. But anyway, he's going to be writing the new Aquaman series, and I'm really, really excited to have somebody that maybe cares about superheroes a little bit to running Aquaman. That would be awesome. I just hope we get back to the classic look. So let's see what happens. But anyway, we have Green Lantern. So he keeps getting stopped in his storylines because DC keeps injecting, which I'm so over. I think everybody's over it, of having events come in. So now we're back with this, and we have the United Federation and Tharos, and they're have a battery that's all of the different emotion spectrum right now. And on top of that, he's destroying the other lanterns, the batteries. So he could have the only one, I guess. I guess it's a power trip situation. But meanwhile, and I'm glad we don't see Sorrow in here, but Sorrow is like a new emotional spectrum that Jeremy created, and I really dislike that. But we have the Carol and on again, off again with Hal, and she just had just to move on from him, I guess. She was going to marry this guy, but then left him at the altar to go save Hal, and now she's back to being a Star Sapphire, and now they're together in space, and there's a whole Tharagarian aura massacre going on up here. I don't know what's going on there. But this does feel a little bit like a space epic, which I really appreciate. So that's Mogo, which is the living planet. So it's kind of like what they have in Guardians of the Galaxy. So, yeah, so we have, you know, the ship that's, you know, lost power, and Hal and John Stewart have to leave, but she says, you have to stay here and get these people to safety. She's like, well, I'm not an engineer. I just run a Ferris Air. I'm not an engineer. He's like, you'll figure it out. I mean, you've been around planes and engines long enough that you'll figure out how to get this thing going. And she's like, oh, okay. It's, from your mouth to God's ears, man. So yeah, so now again, it looks very, very space epic-y. And I don't know, I forgot what was going on there with all that. But there's Hal and Jon Stewart about to going up against some of the other lanterns, which has a really nice page in here. But he also created something, I don't know if he created it, but it's pretty cool. It's like a shadow lantern, and I really, really like that. That's definitely better than the Sorrow one. That's for sure. But anyway, he's like, everything was going great until he showed up. I think that's some of the lines. So we also see Larfleeze in here, but that was Carol trying to boost the engines up, and she's asking engineeric questions, and finally she figures out how to propel the engines using the energy from her ring. And Hal is like, oh, that a girl. Meanwhile, they're fighting this guy, and he looks pretty scary. I kind of like that, where he's like a shadowy, glowing thing. I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, so there's really nice artwork in here where she gets the engines going and then saves these people, and that's where he kind of says that a girl. But yeah, so they're this guy looks really close to hitting them, but they power up their rings and create constructs real quick and run these guys over. I thought this is a really cool page. It's a really cool page. So there's that shadow thing, and he's like, "No, I don't want you to put me back." I guess he's talking to Theros. I want to kill everybody first, and then you can figure out how to get me back. But then he like throws Theros outside. I really don't know what happens. He ejects him through an airlock or something. But anyway, they release Larfleeze from the science cells just to create a diversion so that all the Green Lanterns can get out of the prison that they were put in by Theros. Because there was, basically a rebellion against these guys. So yeah, they're like, oh, you guys got to get up here because, and I think that's, and it looks like a xenomorph from Aliens, but I think it's which is they should never have done. I don't understand why there's a living thing inside the power batteries. It just doesn't, that was something Jeff Johns created. I never really bought into that, but that's what it looks like. It looks like the Star Sapphire version of whatever is inside the power batteries. But yeah, no, cool stuff. I thought this issue was actually really good. Again, it had that very epic sci-fi feel, space battle feel, which I really appreciate. So I thought it was really good. It also makes me really excited for Aquaman. I'm so excited about Aquaman. All right, so let's jump into Catwoman. And as far as being if you keep up like this could be a really good movie. I'm not really sure how that whole Theros thing works, but I'm sure we could streamline it into a pretty good movie. Where there's so many characters though. Where the Green Lanterns, you couldn't start with it, but the Green Lanterns being like the rebellion versus the Empire type of thing, I think that really works actually. So Teenie Howard is finally off of Catwoman. I hated her Catwoman run. It was really, really bad, and I dropped it completely. And then she teamed up with the Batman writer, I forgot his name, but it was that with the Gotham War stuff. That was horrible. But then I saw that Thorin Grumbuck was on this, and she's the same one that's writing Red Sonja, and I really like the Red Sonja. So I figured, hey, I'll pick up Catwoman. Cover looks nice too. We'll get a new run, and if I don't like it, I'll just drop it. But we start out with Selina basically in one of a safe house situation here. But she finds out that some of her aliases are being killed. And it looks like she's being watched and stuff like that. So we have a little bit of a mystery going on, which I also appreciate that it's something more than just, and this is, I guess she was with Bruce. It's like a flashback the night before. And I guess there's some kind of an attack. Oh, it wasn't Bruce because the guy gets shot in the head. So he gets shot in the head, and she's like, I'm out of here. But if you notice, too, her leg The slit is on one side of the dress, and here it's on the other side. On this one. So here it's on the one side, and then on the next page, it's on the other side. Well, I don't know why why artists and editors can't keep track of this shit. So it's like doing a movie and not caring about continuity from one panel to the next. Right? And now it's back on the other side on this one. But anyway, but she gets out of there quickly, and she realizes that somebody's going after her or whatever. And there is somebody tracking her. They're trying to do facial recognition on her to track her down. And of course, she loses them. But with facial recognition, you can't lose people for long, unless you kind of are evading all of the cameras throughout. And I thought this was a really nice panel too. And the shielding your face could definitely, stop the facial recognition from finding you as well. But anyway, she's got to find who is tracking her and sending her a message that they are looking for and killing off her aliases. And then, so she attacks these guys that are busting into her apartment. And we got a nice little fight scene here where she takes a couple of shots and then delivers a couple of shots. But he catches her leg, which I thought was interesting. But it didn't take long for her to break out of that because he looks like he takes a knife out. So they are trying to assassinate her. I just don't know why. But we get a lamp across the head. So I really like what's going on here, and I like that we have the bat symbol there as well, where we're actually connecting it to Batman a little bit. But anyway, she takes her passports and things like that, and she steals some stuff to clothes, and she's imagining too, flashbacking to how she looked when she was in that other alias that got killed. And I guess it was in Germany or Berlin or something like that. So she's heading over there. And you can see that she's got the scrubs on and that kind of thing. She's heading, I think, out of the country. And they pick her up. The facial recognition picks her up again that she's leaving the country. So yeah, there's not a whole lot there right now, but at least it's a start. I wish that there was a little more story in here, but there isn't. But it's okay. At least it's a start, and it's not stupid. So I'll keep my fingers crossed that Thornton Grumbuck can write some Catwoman, because right now I am a fan of hers. She writes a little bit like Gail Simone used to write when she was doing, Birds of Prey and stuff like that. So, yeah, finally got Catwoman back out of Teenie Howard's hands. Thank God she's off that, man. She's horrible. So I'm reserving right. I don't know if this is going to make a good movie or not because I don't know what the story is. But so far, it's good. All right, so now we're back to Moon Knight, who was killed and came back to life. And that's him there in the suit. He had to do a thing for Konshu. This is Fist of Konshu. This is number 1. But he had to do a special thing for Konshu where he had to kill the guy that was masquerading at him, but then he brought him back. It was actually not a really good issue. But we have this guy that was working with Moon Knight who was an ex-cop, and he's being interrogated by the new chief of police or whatever, and he's just not giving her anything. So she's none too happy about that. But meanwhile, Mark Spector is redesignating himself as the savior of that part of the city, and there's some drugs. There was some drug deaths, so he's tracking these guys down, and he's basically walking in. He wants to have a meeting with these guys, the boss, and they're like, "I don't think so." So they're immediately fighting him, and it's not working out real well. And we go back and forth with this, but she's laying down in front of him all of the guys, the two vampires, Greer, which is Tigra, and 8-Ball, which is all the guys that are working with him at the midnight thing there. So we got a kind of nice little fight scene and stuff like that without him being in the suit rather than being in the other suit. But I got to say, at least the psychiatrist thing is gone. I was so over that with the psychiatrist being the bookends of each story. He took that too far, man. A couple of issues is fine, but every single issue, somebody's got to be at the psychiatrist's office. I was kind of over that. But we're continuing the fight scene with the Billy Club, and we're continuing the interrogation, and finally he just walks out, and he's like, "You're not getting anything from me." So that's the end of that. And he finally, we do have West Coast Avengers coming with Ultron on it. I don't know who the girl is. I don't know who the girl is. I don't know if that's supposed to be Fire, but whatever. I'm on board with that. It's just that it's written by Jerry Duggan, so I don't know. I'm on board, but I'll give it a shot before I drop it. But anyway, there's the guy he's looking to meet, and I think it's a really nice shot with the mirror behind him and all that stuff. Of course, you couldn't really shoot that for real because you would see the camera in the shot unless you painted it out with CG. So then you have a CG budget in there. But yeah, so he sits down and there's Carver there, which is the girl with the sword. And he's like, "I'm not here to buy anything. I'm here to warn you to stop selling this shit." And I like the fact that he picks it up with the chopsticks because he was eating something or whatever else that was Asian of some sort. And I kind of like that. And he's like, "I'm just here to warn you. That's it." So he's like, "Yeah, I don't think so." And he's like, "Well, who's selling that?" And he's like, "You." Yeah, he's eating sushi. I can see it now. So yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's Jeff. Because Kelly Thompson can't write for shit, so she's got to write the shark. So yeah, and that's them warning back and forth. And he's like, "Don't make me stick Carver on you." And she puts the sword up to him, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever, man. Just stay on your side of the block. Don't be selling to mine." And he's like, "Well, I'll see you later. Don't you worry." So this is kind of like a setup issue where we're setting up a new villain. And we do have some fight scenes in there. But I have no idea what this chick is doing here and interrogating about Moon Knight. I think she's actually working for the villain, which I thought was a good twist. And she has to report that she didn't get any information. So yeah, so he doesn't like the fact that that the boss is getting warned about what business to run. I think that's kind of cool. We're kind of going a little bit into the mob stuff, which I kind of like too. I do like Penguin. In fact, I didn't finish the new episode yet, but I do reviews on Penguin if you're looking for to get more information on that. If you haven't seen it or you want to see somebody else's take on it. So yes, let's do a recap here. So we have Moon Knight. I like it so far. Will make a good movie. I don't know yet because I got to see what the rest of the story taking place is. Same thing with Catwoman. It's a brand new Catwoman. If you're into Catwoman and just hated Teenie Howard, this is a good jumping on point. And we also have Green Lantern, which has been decent. It's just that he's been taken off and putting back on into the story continuously. So it feels like the story's meandering. So I hope that they don't interrupt him now and he can just continue on from this point and we don't have all this meandering going on. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it if you watched all the way till the end. Remember, too, to give me that like, give me that thumbs up if you can. And remember, too, that I do this thing for people that might not even collect comics, but they want to see what Marvel and DC and the independents are doing in case it does hit the small screen or the big screen streaming or the networks or the studios pick it up or something. It's a way to keep track of what the IPs are and where the stories are going in case it does get picked up for movie or television. All right. Plus, there's the chapters below. If you continue to watch my episodes, I always have chapters below if you want to jump between them. All right. Plus, remember, too, that Myth Lords is on. We are fully financed right now. We are funded. So if you go to mythlords.net, you can jump into this, and you can play as your favorite classic monster, whether it's Dracula, Frankenstein, the Creature from the Deep, or the Wolfman. And we have other characters in here as well, like the Bride, Mr. Hyde, that rhymes, and the Mummy, and all that stuff, and you fight over locations and all that stuff. Real fun. And plus, like I said, we have the Dark Oz expansion, and we are going to unlock the 5th player, which is the Wicked Witch. Pretty cool. All right, that's it for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out some other videos as well, and I will see you guys on the next episode. And if you're reading comics, let me know what you're reading. All right, bye-bye.